Welcome to the program. There is the People's Bench. We are coming to you from Muthu Silver Springs Hotel here as usual. For much more, you can scan the QR code right on your screen and you will be able to get more about Muthu Silver Springs Hotel. I am your host, Fred Ogweno, and tonight it is another time that I'm having the privilege to host Mwalimu Odoyo Owidi. Him who says it the way it is, and that is his main problem. We are here to look at the state of the nation. How are things moving in our nation? How are you, my friend?
I'm good, my brother.
The straight shooter.
Really? But you know, if you don't shoot straight, you'll miss the goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
They say, why do I keep on bringing on Mwalimu every now and again on the bench?
Tell them to check the viewership.
Yes.
Yes.
They love you.
They love the truth.
Measure.
They love the truth. And those who hate me hate the truth.
Yes.
That's how it is.
In an equal measure, Mwalimu.
Absolutely.
Oh, you love your coat. It's a good one to stretch the truth a little.
This one is one of its kind. You can't see another one around.
Ikali sana Mwalimu. Umekuwa Gen Z.
At my age, yes, you can only be friends with Gen Zs.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu. We shoot straight. State of the nation. Let's start with what is happening in Mombasa. Siaya Governor James Orengo is issuing ultimatum to President William Ruto, saying that we are not going to support you blindly.
You know, Siaya Governor James Orengo has not changed syllabus since he was 26. I think right now he's beyond 76. For 50 years plus, he has not changed his political syllabus. It is a syllabus of trying to find somebody to oppose, somebody to attack. It is a politics of rebellion. It is a politics of ruffling feathers. Yet this is a man who once ran for president and got 24,000 votes in the whole country, Kenya. What makes him think he can even call a protest of a primary school? He cannot. He is talking because there are people gathered to talk to. I am sure if he called people to come around for him to talk to, he will not get anybody. Siaya Governor James Orengo has been there because of Raila Odinga. Since Raila Odinga tore him into pieces in the Battle of Sega, he had to come back crawling and fitted in. And he would only talk in meetings organized because Raila existed. And I don't understand why he has not realized Raila is no longer there. In fact, I am worried even for him retaining his CI seat. I am worried for him. Because I have heard what is going on in the ground in Siaya. And I know him. When Raila Odinga once abandoned him, he could not even get elected in Siaya. And this is one man that you cannot point a toilet he built in Siaya. Right now he's a governor, of course. The people around him will have a budget, and probably they will implement things. Under his leadership, he can take credit if he wishes. But I can also tell James Orengo, no Luo is going to go back to the streets to fight anything for anyone at any time. We have had enough of it. We have fought for people like Orengo for 50 plus years. We have lost sons on the streets. Orengo is one person who has never bought a single coffin for those lost, let alone buy medicine for those injured. This is James Orengo. The Luos are not their tools to use at will. The Luos are not their mercenaries to take to war and get the proceeds of war. No, we are not going back.
They will tell you, who are you to speak about him?
I am Odoyo Owidi, the only one who tells them the truth that nobody dares tell them.
They call him a walking constitution. He was there in the trenches, Mwalimu.
I am going to tell you, if you find anybody calling James Orengo a walking constitution, that is a person who has no idea the meaning of constitution. The people who are excited about his public pronouncements, whether they are legal or political or social, because he talks and repeats his words, because he talks in public, inciting people to do certain things, people think there's no working constitution in James Orengo. Why did he take Raila to the Supreme Court multiple times and never won anything? Do you know, Orengo, if you look at his age mates, they ran very successful law firms, not James Orengo. If you look at the politicians who are age mates of James Orengo, they did very well. If it were not for Raila, he would not even win the Senate, let alone governor.
But Mwalimu, let me ask you, if before, in all fairness, before he accuses President William Ruto of mismanagement, just the other day, we were having a very big scandal in Siaya about fake employment of health workers under his government, and until now, no action has been taken. He is the governor. Does he have the moral authority to accuse President William Ruto of anything?
Let me tell you one more thing. James Bob Orengo ajijui, he doesn't know himself. If he knew who really he is, he would not dare some of these statements he's making. Because he's a candidate for committee. Yes. The kind of corruption in the county government of Siaya is on another level. But the incompetence is on the moon. Incompetence. There is nothing that goes on in Siaya. It is this very President William Ruto who went to Siaya to complete a stadium that he was unable to do anything about. With almost 3 billion annually as development budget, now 3 times, that is 9 billion. You cannot show me any major project that those monies have gone to in Siaya. There's nothing. You know, there are 2 sets of governors we have in Lula. There are ones who are clueless, the staff below them and beyond, still that they don't know and they can do nothing about them because they are lazy in terms of governance.
Is he amongst
them? Then there are those ones who themselves are the kings and queens of corruption, together with their cronies, friends, and family. Orengo is the former. The ones who have no idea what goes on in Siaya. Siaya is on autopilot. Autopilot, it's running on its own. The staff there are doing whatever they want to do. And there is nothing that reaches the people. Nothing.
But he wants to fix the country. He wants to guide.
Let him fix Siaya first. Orengo James needs to fix Siaya before he comes talking about President William Ruto. If he wanted to be talking about President William Ruto, he should have remained as a senator or gone as an MP. Then he can oversight. He is himself sitting on a similar seat to President William Ruto's, albeit small, and in his seat, there is no performance, there is no delivery, there is no achievement, there is no output. Hakuna kitu.
I hear you, Mwalimu. As we are shifting gears, allow me to remind our viewers to kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel so that anytime we have this kind of conversation, you will be able to get the notification. Mwalimu, still on matters accountability, the bishops are up in arms.
I think let's separate the bishops into 2. There was one who was ranting at a funeral, and there are those ones who came telling us that they want to tell us what Ruto have done and what Ruto have not done. I don't know which one you want us to start with.
We start with the one who was stretching the truth. You call it ranting, but he's stretching the bitter truth.
I think you want to call it the bitter truth because I've discovered that most of our people are very lazy thinkers. Anything that sounds logical to them is the truth, and they take it the way the person has presented it without evaluating the motive, without evaluating how far that truth can be stretched. This friend of yours you call stretching the truth told us that there are people here who are busy telling us how the Luos have got 2 ministries and that is now a big deal that we should not talk about. Let me tell you something. When he's talking about Luos once we have 6 ministers, I don't know when was that. I do not know when was that. Even during Kenyatta, we never had 6 ministers. The largest we had the highest number, I think, was 5 at one time. And then we had during the coalition government between Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki. But, there is something that bishop doesn't know. The mathematics of relativity. His figures are absolute. When you tell us that we had 6 or 4, we had 4 ministers when the cabinet was 44. We have 3 ministers when the cabinet is 22. And why do I say also relativity? Beyond that, there is also the fact that in this time we have multi-party. That means there is a side which has largely supported and voted for the government. Then there is a side which opposed the government. It is common knowledge in Africa that regions which oppose the government rarely get appointed to government. But President William Ruto, even before the broad-based, had Eliud Owalo in government, had General Ogola, the first ever Luo CDF in this republic, had Dr. Raymond Omolo, the second interior PS ever in this country.
But there was no this kind of excitement, kind of ululation and jubilation. We are not sleeping.
I will tell you
the 2 cabinet
secretaries.
secretaries.
I will tell you the reason. We are not 2, we are 3. An attorney general is a cabinet minister in charge of justice and constitutional affairs. That's an attorney general. What the bishop is saying, that these people are giving us sleepless nights. Atulali, now are willing to. It is him who is not sleeping. We are now sleeping better. It is the bishop who is not sleeping out of jealousy. Let me tell the bishop. Tell him. The only executive CS in any country, Kenya included, is the finance. Finance minister, finance CS is the only one with executive powers to sign documents like a PS. When you are given just finance ministry alone, it is equivalent to being given sports ministry plus youth affairs plus all those many things, 5 of them. That is why I'm saying this bishop doesn't have a sense of relativity. You cannot compare finance ministry to any other. And let me tell you, when you go to energy where Pure Wandai sits, that is the only ministry where the commodities that are dealt with in that ministry are like money in itself. Today, if I give you a tanker of fuel, I have given you like walking millions, which you cannot get stranded with. And so is power. So that is not just a simple ministry. And remember also, this is the first time a Luo is holding the office of the Attorney General. But are they changing the lives of the people? Wandai with the power docket. Are they changing the lives of the people? That is the question. Helicopters everywhere, Mwalimu. So explain to me what this bishop wanted that would change the life of Luos. Tell me what they wanted. He want to see power in the villages. You want to see water in the villages. Yes. You want to see money that munasema inalala Homa Bay. That money is not in the pockets of ordinary mwananchi. Let me tell you something. There is no time in this world where you meet somebody in the streets and he will tell you, I have money in my pocket, courtesy of this government. Even during Kenyatta, not during Moi, not during Uhuru, not during Kibaki, there was no time you meet Kenyans in the streets. The other day, I went through the newspapers. After budget was read, throughout Kibaki and Uhuru regimes, the comments are even worse than the ones we are getting during Ruto. Everybody is complaining, oh, the budget is this has been increased. At any given time, the budget is increased. I once told you right here on the bench that when Uhuru took power, the budget had initially been 1.6 trillion. His next one was 1.85 trillion. And people never complained. And many things were increased in prices. What I keep on telling Kenyans, the hulabaloo against President William Ruto is orchestrated by people from a community who believe it is only them who should be presidents. That is the truth. And because of their large numbers, when they talk in chorus, you think there is something really wrong with the governance of President William Ruto. But the bishop is not a Kikuyu. These are a Luo bishop, because inspired by God to tell the president the bitter truth. And it's men like you. It's people like you. When you listen to that bishop talking, you realize he's somebody who has relied on the media to get the news he was telling us about. Is there anything there he got without relying on the media? The media in this country was compromised long time ago. This is the media that took us through a battle of Adani. Adani this, Adani that. But this media, if you ask them, they don't even know who built the expressway. They don't even know which company built the SGR. They never even bother to ask. Lakini hii ya Ruto, they have been whipped into saying something. Let me tell you.
Tell me.
The media, propaganda controls the media. And the media controls us. And these people like this bishop does not know that small detail. He takes everything he reads from the media, he listens to on radio and watches on TV as gospel truth, not realizing the very people who want these things are the very co-conspirators against President William Ruto. They are the ones. And many people, once they hear something on radio, on TV, in print media, it is gospel truth. No, it is not always gospel truth. The media can be captured. If there is any time the media in this country has never been independent, it is this time during President William Ruto. Not controlled by the government, but controlled by the opposition who owns them.
But President William Ruto has controlled everything apart from the media.
What
can we say so?
But
he
the
has
media
parliament, he has controlled parliament everywhere. Everything he controls. It's only the media that we have.
Ruto controlling the parliament.
Including the church.
Ruto controlling parliament is just imagination. Respect that every parliament the world over has for their presidents is the same, but he does not control it. If Ruto was not controlling parliament, he would have not even gone for ODM to come and help him pass bills in parliament because he doesn't control it. He just wins it back. But you see, when people see President William Ruto has got large numbers in parliament, they say he's controlling them. He's not controlling them. He has just won them over to his side because of reasoning. Don't we have leaders here who have been saying, oh, SHA is not working, SHA is not working. And when you ask them, how come SHA is not working? And you know, my auntie went to hospital and didn't get medicine. SHA is not a hospital. SHA is not a pharmacy. SHA is not a doctor. SHA is an insurance underwriter. SHA pays the bills. So if you go to hospital and find there's no medicine, that is not SHA. If you are told your payments are not up to date, that is not SHA. That is the person who is supposed to pay. If you are told you don't qualify, that is not SHA. SHA kazi yake ni kulipa after you have been treated.
And if you are told there are ghost hospitals that are siphoning money through corruption, whose responsibility is it, if not the government of President William Ruto?
Let's appreciate that only national referral hospitals are owned by the national government. And none of the national referral hospitals have been accused of siphoning SHA money. Only the county ones, of which the greatest culprit is the county of Homa Bay, which has 4 sub-county hospitals blacklisted by SHA. So you don't put everything. I've seen this country, even mistakes which were made by former presidents, when they reach there, they now call them government. But when they are using current one, they say government of President William Ruto. The people are incapable of seeing the difference between those two statements. Recently, I saw in a local newspaper reporting 3 presidents as tyrants. I don't even know which language they used. But they had put President William Ruto, they had put President Suluhu and President Museveni. Remember, none of those, President Ruto did not commit any such crime mentioned in that print media. But they wanted to use mistakes of Suluhu to crucify Ruto. They wanted to use mistakes of Museveni for arresting Kenyans to crucify President William Ruto. If you are a Kenyan and you are arrested in Uganda, what does President William Ruto got to do with it?
In collaboration with the Kenyan government.
If Suluhu has stolen votes in Tanzania, where does Ruto come in? It is only in this country, Kenya, in the whole of East Africa and the expanded East Africa, that the oppositions have not been in jail since President William Ruto.
But
when you go to Tanzania,
abduction.
When you go to Tanzania, the opposition was in jail. So was Rwanda, Uganda, and South Sudan. But when you see those mistakes, you put all the presidents together. Kenya is an island of peace in a sea of turmoil. And you are telling me about abductions. Let me tell you something about abductions. When the protests began and people were arrested for breaching the protest protocol that is in Article 37, peaceable and unarmed. The media started calling it abduction. When they saw it was gaining traction and people were excited about it, and it was making people enraged against the president, now everything they were calling abduction. And the opposition went further to now do their own abductions. Koimuri, you remember that MP?
I remember.
He abducted himself and kept himself nicely in a 3-star hotel somewhere with a beautiful woman. Then there was this Kanyagia, abducted himself beautifully and kept himself somewhere, so that we say it is abduction. Because abduction had gained notoriety to an extent that when Kenyans hear about abduction, they feel like going to the streets, because they feel emotionally that they are also potential candidates of abduction. They did not realize that some of these abductions, so-called abductions, are being done by the very opposition they are supporting. And even people who are genuinely arrested for crimes they have committed, they were calling them abductions. This was a conspiracy to besmirch the integrity, the good name of President William Ruto by people who believe it is only them who should be presidents in this country.
I hear you, Mwalimu. Are you telling me that the President William Ruto and his government and the people who are close to him like you are not going to listen to the men of the cloth, that you are not afraid of the curse from the bishops when they are telling you that this is the way, walk on it, you are on a wrong route?
Excuse me. Where were these bishops when Uhuru was changing the law to illegalize sale of unprocessed milk? Where were they when Uhuru was building SGR from his farm in Mombasa to his farm in Naivasha? Where were they? Where were they when Uhuru was single-handedly building the expressway? A private road that was built destroyed the lower government road, and that road was never repaired. Where were the bishops? Where were the bishops when Uhuru promised universal health care and never delivered it? Uhuru had also the Big Four agenda, which none was never delivered. Where were they? Where were these bishops? Because one of their own was in power. These bishops have resurfaced because there is somebody they don't like in power. And I heard them count that, despite that, there are also some good things President William Ruto has done. I want them to follow the multiple projects done by President William Ruto. They can as well go to Facebook and follow the account of PS Raymond Omolo. They are listed there on a daily basis. Giant projects costing hundreds of millions of shillings being done in all the counties in Kenya. These bishops didn't even count a new airport built from scratch from Kitui, where we had the last holiday celebrations. They didn't even say anything about it. They didn't say anything about that stadium. They didn't say anything about the Talanta Stadium, the best in East Africa. They didn't say anything. They only telling us things about Shah. And Shah is very successful.
Remember, they are the powerful Catholic
my
bishops.
brother, every county in this country, on average, has 5 markets built by the national government in just 3 years of President William Ruto's regime. Just 3 years. So, and when we take these holidays to every county, the stadium there is taken over and rebuilt to completion by the president. If there is an airstrip on an airport, it is redone to world standards. Wherever President William Ruto goes, new roads are being built. Yet, if you look at the collection of Kenyan revenue, we collect about 2.6 trillion, 1.1 trillion pays debts, 900 billion pays recurrent expenditure. The county governments take 450 billion. What is left? Yet President William Ruto is still doing all these things. Where is this money they are saying President William Ruto is stealing?
I hear you, Mwalimu. Allow me again to remind our viewers to kindly subscribe on the YouTube channel so that you cannot miss this kind of conversation. Mwalimu, we are shifting gears again. We want to go to your county, the county of Homa Bay, the county of endless potential. But specifically, we are going to Kasipul constituency. Things are getting hotter there. Who is killing people? That kind of violence, Mwalimu. 2 people lying dead. And now they are saying that those who were arrested escaped from police custody.
I don't know how 10 policemen can be overpowered to release suspects that are already in the vehicle and already moving. When did these villagers collect themselves together and rescue these people? But nevertheless, what has happened now is so similar to what happened, I think, about 2 years earlier about one man called Okoda. Okoda was killed by these very suspects. The police went and found these very suspects hiding on the ceiling board at the MP's house. Few years later, these suspects has killed another 2 people in broad daylight, with the chief seated, with the area MC seated, with the county assembly speaker seated, and various other leaders supporting Governor Gladys Wanga's candidate, Boyd Were. They were all seated there. We do not have witnesses, we do not have suspects, we do not have arrests, we do not have any statement proper that anybody can believe. But what is most annoying, the police chief comes to talk about a gun that was shot in the air multiple times and people got scattered. Yet these 2 people were not killed using any form of gun. They were killed using machetes. And the policeman is not talking about those machetes and who are holding them. How can a crime be committed in public where there are people and the police have no suspect? How? But the problem is not even the police. There is somebody who has captured the police in the county of Homa Bay.
Who is this person?
Crimes that she favors, nobody gets arrested.
Who is this person, Mwalimu?
The governor of Homa Bay, Governor Gladys Wanga. Governor Gladys Wanga cried all the tears in her eyes, plus borrowed ones, when Ongondowere died. The very man who butchered so many people in Kasipul. Now the same people in Kasipul are being butchered again by those agents that Ongondowere used to keep for her. And she's saying nothing. She's condemning nothing. She's demanding nothing. The people of Kasipul must get a leader, an MP of their choice.
Mwalimu.
So are the people of Homa Bay must also get a governor who cares about them. I told you here before, it is not good to put leadership of governance. It is different from leadership of representation, which is MP, Senate, and all that. Leadership of governance also involves resources, involves security, involves laws. You cannot give it to somebody who was not born in that land. That is how all countries in the world behave. And it cannot be different from here. I even said that even the problem we have in Tanzania is because President Suluhu was born in Zanzibar. Zanzibar and Tanganyika are 2 different countries that were only... And Zanzibar still has a government complete with parliament. These are 2 different things. And Suluhu sees the Tanzanians from Tanganyika as black Africans. Them, they are light-skinned Africans. This is the problem. Gladys does not have any respect for the people of Homa Bay.
But
she does not have any sympathy for the people of Homa Bay. She does not even care about them.
Gladys Wanga was not at the scene of crime. She was not there where these people were being killed. Why drag her name?
Let me tell you why I have dragged her name.
Tell me.
I have not even dragged her name. I have brought her name. This suspect who escaped in handcuffs is one man called Ras, also called Alfred Nyambok. He is a chief inspector in the county government of Homa Bay Enforcement Office.
You are sure about that?
I know, I'm very sure. And even I have the payroll of that and his name is there. And he was publicly promoted from a constable to chief inspector direct after the death of one Okoda. The gentleman who was lynched by the public but did not die, the one who was beaten by the public, who was taken to Homa Bay Hospital, called Jim, is from my village. He works for the county government of Homa Bay. He was beaten because they are the ones who killed those 2 boys. He is a suspect from where I sit. So that is where Gladys comes in. her own officers. I told you before, and I said this before the county commissioner Homa Bay, then Leland, that what is happening here in Kasipul, these murderers in Kasipul, I have their photo carrying pangas, and they are county government employees in Homa Bay. That means Ongondowere was just a person taking care of Gladys' private army. That is the truth. That is the truth. And that is why you see Gladys is saying nothing about these deaths. And let me tell you one more time.
Tell me.
Boyd Were is not a candidate of the ODM party. Boyd Were is a candidate of Gladys Atieno Nyasona Wanga. That is her candidate. And she got it to be her candidate. When we were doing the ODM nominations, hospitals were stoned with patients inside. The opponent's cars were stoned. Yet this opponent was also in ODM. If it was an ODM thing, the ODM would have done their thing peacefully and democratically, picked out their candidate, and then now they say this is our candidate, ODM. But even some ODM members rejected that candidate. So this is not an ODM candidate. This is a Gladys Wanga candidate that she wants. Whatever gods she wants to appease with this candidate are her own.
My concern is this, Mwalimu. When will this madness stop? When Ongondowere died,
I know the medicine.
People celebrated.
The madness in Kasipul, and they were. And it is expected to extend to Karachuonyo once the governor's candidate has been elected there as an MP. It is expected to spread to other constituencies in which the governor will succeed to have her people elected as MP. This is the governor who said the other day that if there is any constituency which will elect an MP which doesn't like her, they will not get development. That is the person we are talking about. So, you're asking me, when will this madness end? This madness end when Gladys Wanga is voted out as the governor of Homa Bay. When the people of Homa Bay come together and say we have problems we want to solve, and our problem number one on top of the list is Gladys Wanga, the person who receives our resources from the national government but does not develop for us anything. She keeps on telling us, how come these things were not happening when I was not there? These things were not happening because President William Ruto was not the president. When we get a president who cares about the people of Homa Bay and brings development, but also Ruto brings development to almost every other part of the country. I saw a beautiful airport built in Kitui, and that was fascinating.
I hear you, Mwalimu. How can she be voted out? She is the ODM party chairperson. Apart from that, she's very close to everybody, all senior leaders, including your president.
As we are seated here, we already have 2 pieces of ODM. When we leave Mombasa, there will be 3, then 4, then 8, 16, 32, 72, until everybody will be a member of ODM on his own. ODM is gone. We can't talk about ODM here now because everybody wants to lead it. First of all, why would somebody be a party official and also a governor? A party official and also an MP? That is mistake number 1. It is wrong for a democratic party anywhere in the world to have officials who also doubles as elected leaders. But how are they going to manage elections?
Who is not? The president is the party leader of UDA and is also the president.
The president is the party leader of UDA because that is where he was before he was elected.
Why not?
And I think the party leadership is different from these officials who determine anything, everything. It is not right for an elected leader to be Secretary General of a party, to be chair of a party, because how will the people who are coming from outside compete with them? See, they will sit somewhere and make rules that favor them. They will sit somewhere and choose officials that will favor them. That is the mistake. And that is the reason why ODM is going to collapse tomorrow. Raila was larger than life and kept ODM together. But now that is not there. ODM is gone. They are wasting time. In fact, what is ODM really celebrating in Mombasa?
20 years of existence, Mwalimu. Parties have come and gone.
Would you celebrate a cow if you have a cow that for 20 years has no calf? All political parties are formed to take power, to take the presidency. ODM has been there for 20 years without that. What are they celebrating? Kanu became president, they are celebrating nothing. PNU did not celebrate. TNA did not celebrate. Jubilee did not celebrate. What is ODM celebrating?
ODM
celebrating non-achievement.
ODM is in power. They came to save your president from the hands of the Gen Zs, and now they are in broad-based government.
ODM is just the bus Raila Odinga boarded when he was going to stand next to President William Ruto. Raila Odinga himself was a political party. When he's not there, the political party is gone. Even now, as we sit here, President William Ruto will have to look for votes from the Luo Nyanza directly from the Luos and the local leaders. And all the Luos in Nyanza are seeing what the president is doing to them, what the president has done to their sons, what the president has done to their land, the development the president has provided. And that has not been done by anybody since time immemorial. Nobody, no president has ever treated. In fact, when I saw that bishop talking, I looked at him. This is the same bishop who once switched off the microphone for Raila Odinga. That time for burying, for burial has reached, and so anybody who wants to speak can remain there speaking to the ground. You know, that guy is arrogant. He's not even fit to be a priest. He's not even fit to be a priest. And he's talking about things he really didn't understand properly.
The truthful bishop, many are just pampering the president like this, handling him with gloves.
Members of the public are generally very lazy thinkers. They should have taken it and said, he's saying there were 6 ministers. When was that? We have had 6 ministers before, but not at one time. Number 2, the weight of a ministry matters. Number 3, the giving of that ministry at a time when you did not even help form that government also matters.
But the noises that are coming from the two is also disturbing.
It is not the noises.
Mwalimu, they are telling us, ever since Raila Odinga died, all that these 2 ministers have been doing is to keep on reminding us that Raila left us in government. We were here in Kenya and we saw it. Why
Let me tell you why they are saying that. Because people like Orengo are trying to take the Luos back to the street. And they are telling the Luo, no, you are in government. You can't go to the streets against a government which you are part of. That is the thing the bishop is not understanding. The reason why Mbadi, Wandai, Owidi, Omolo, Owalo, and everybody else who cares, including MPs, to remind these people that we are part of this government and we cannot go to the streets against this government the way one James Orengo is demanding, the way some other people, but they are just 2 people who are not fit, who are complaining. And I think even Ruth Odinga has been very reasonable. I think her problem is their differences with the Governor Gladys Wanga. I think that is the problem. She doesn't want to be on the same side as Gladys, but that they can sort as ladies from wherever they can. But the truth of the matter, one Raila Molo Odinga left us in government, and we are going to remain there until we find a reason not to be in that government. And let me tell you, people are saying that Raila Odinga said, who told you that we are not going to have a candidate? No, we were going to have a candidate as ODM, and that candidate was going to be President William Ruto. Right. In any case, ODM would have not had another candidate if not Raila Odinga. Now that it wasn't Raila Odinga, it was William Ruto, another founder member of ODM. Yes.
Raila never said that.
He didn't have to say it. It takes political analysts to see through it.
One more, Mwalimu. Bishop calls Kindiki, Professor, the deputy president, soprano man who keeps on jumping from one village to another with the so-called empowerment programs, politics of tokenism.
That is Bishop Ongenja. That is utmost disrespect. In the Bible, it is said that you must respect Caesar. And you must give him what is due to him. And you must not disrespect a king. That was very uncouth of that bishop. And when you listen to the language used, that is not his handwriting. That is Rigigi's. So this bishop is bishop who has been paid. Bishops who are paid to reject Jesus. This is a bishop that his bread is being buttered from Rigiji. That language of soprano man is Rigiji's language. Where did he get it from? Even if Rigiji didn't tell him to go and use it, it means he admires that language. And that's why he's using it. It means he's a Rigiji supporter. That is a very uncouth bishop. If I die, let him not come and have a gospel in my funeral. Because I may go to hell.
Come on, Mwalimu.
Yes. In fact, I listened to that man, the way he was talking. asking people questions. And I realized his knowledge is so little, the only thing he knows is what he read from the newspapers or listened to on TV or listened to on radio.
But
that is all he had.
But at least, Mwalimu, he has the courage to stretch the truth.
No, he had the courage to say what is a lie, smeared as the truth, covered as the truth. What was so truthful there? Let me tell me one of his sentences which was so true.
He says that previously, ODM told us that President William Ruto was killing people and that people were being abducted. Now he's asking, it is the same President William Ruto that you are telling us good. What has changed?
That is what I am talking about. This idea of abduction. I told you the genesis of this abduction thing. But because this bishop is waiting in the evening to listen to the TV station talking, compromise stations, stations which are serving the interest of a people who think others cannot lead. That is all he listened to. Let me tell you, there is this thing called Article 37. Peaceful maandamano, peaceably and unarmed, right? Guaranteed in the Constitution. What you saw in the streets, were they peaceful? And I've seen people with convergent thinking telling us, oh, they are peaceful until the police arrives.
Yes.
We saw people lighting bonfire with no policemen in sight.
But we saw
people blocking roads with no policemen in sight. We saw watu wa maandamano chasing a policeman. A policeman is running away from you chasing. If the role was reversed, that the police is chasing you and you are running and then kicks you from behind, what would the public have said? We saw these people chase a police woman right into a police truck and throws a stone onto her head. Is that the kind of maandamano envisaged in Article 37?
Mwalimu, we also saw police with unmarked vehicles. We saw police with the face masks, shooting at will, shooting.
There's shooting and shooting somebody.
We saw them.
Yes, remember, once the policeman is out of the station and in the streets, he is out of reach of command from the bosses. He can do anything, and whatever they do, they can be taken to court and charged for them. Like the one who shot a man in the street point blank. Remember, that policeman is in court. But the civilian who chased the policeman and kicked from behind is not in court. The civilian who chased the policeman and hit at the back of the head with a stone is not in court. That woman who was assaulting a policewoman in the streets is not in court. And still, it is the policeman you want to blame. But finally, but most important, remember, those policemen are individuals. They have killed their own wives. They have butchered their own families. It is not the government which sent them. Once you are out there with your gun, with your weapons, you take discretion from the laws of the land that all of us know, even if you are not policemen.
The Gen Z are waiting for you and your president on the ballot 2027. They are waiting for you.
Let me tell you one more thing.
Ruto is going home.
Let me tell you one more thing. Do you know, out of the people who have registered afresh for elections next, who have registered
as
voters, the Gen Zs are not even 10%.
Allah.
And that is not all. There is no community called Gen Zs. These Gen Zs you see here are first loyal to their community before they are loyal to their age group. Before they are loyal to their generation.
Mwalimu, they are partyless. They are everything
that is what you would have loved them to be. But if they were tribeless and partyless, when ODM stood by President William Ruto, the whole Gen Z uprising would have not stopped. But because they are first loyal to their leaders, to their communities, to their kingpins, don't tell us about Gen Z is going to vote anybody out. I have Gen Zs in my house and they have seen the language. I have put sense into them. I have told them, you Gen Zs, you are being used because you do not have the benefit of history. You do not know what Jomo Kenyatta did to Jaramogi. You do not know what Kibaki did to Odinga. You don't know. So these people are using you because you don't have that history. And also because you are purists. You believe in perfection. Yet you do not know how imperfect the previous leaders were. You listen quickly and understand quickly and take it out quickly. So these people decided to speak to you sense. It is sensible what these people were speaking. But they were not logical. If you want to help this country, let's help those who are in power, elected by the people, to govern. When they finish, help the other one until we get a perfect leadership structure.
One final one, Mwalimu. Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president, is preparing Matiang'i to take over power, but he could not help Raila Odinga to be president when he was in power. How sure is Matiang'i that Uhuru can now deliver this thing to him, even as we are winding up?
I know one thing people don't want to say.
Say it.
When Uhuru Kenyatta betrayed President William Ruto, a man he once said, yangu kumi, yake kumi. What changed? What changed is because Uhuru did not want to leave power, but he had no way of removing Section 2A, adding Section 2A back. There was no way of him bringing back the term limits, removing the term limits. So what he decided to do, he wanted to return to power the way Putin did. He wanted to return the power as president with a new name called prime minister. So he says, I'm now supporting Raila Odinga, and my men don't vote for Ruto. Raila Odinga is a better man. And what did he say? He brought something called BBI, in which there was going to be an executive prime minister who was going to appoint the government the way the president does today. And in that executive prime minister was going to be elected by parliament. And that is why in that BBI, there were 70 new seats of MPs that was enough to tilt the vote in favor of Uhuru Kenyatta.
I hear you.
But when this failed, Uhuru Kenyatta decided that he is no longer interested in this whole thing of Raila being president and him being prime minister. So he did not even take Raila Odinga to his native land, the mountain. We went to the mountain alone with Raila Odinga to Nyeri. Huyu Kahiga, Mutai alitusomea 1 hour. Mutai Kahiga alitusomea 1 hour. And Uhuru is here in Nairobi sipping his usual uji. So Uhuru did not want to help Raila be president. He wanted to remain in power as the president through another name called prime minister. And when it failed, he abandoned Raila. But now he genuinely wants to make Matiang'i the president. That is why he has run to the mountain and taken Matiang'i with him. Reason why he wants to make Matiang'i the president, Uhuru doesn't want the dynasty to get out of their home. He wants his children to one day also be presidents. The only person that can do that is a person you pick from the streets, make him president, and have a promise that also one day you make my children president, like Kenyatta and Moi did.
Thank you, Mwalimu. Thank you. And with that, we come to the end of our conversation tonight. It has been hot, Mwalimu. Sometimes you make it hotter. Oh my. You say the truth without missing words.
That truth you will not hear it anywhere.
Next time you will tell me about Gideon Moi. He's joining the government. Another dynasty. That William said that dynasty's time is over.
I don't know if he's joining the government. You know, you only remain a dynasty if you are remaining in power. But if you are out of power, that means the dynasty has collapsed.
Can he be useful to William? Gideon?
Yes, in form of keeping peace in William's backyard. But as far as votes is concerned, he may not be so useful.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate you for finding time to watch The People's Bench. It has been the bench by the people, for the people, and from the people. Keep your comments coming. And remember, they have to be moderate. Matusi hatutakubali kamwe. Thank you so much. It has been, I've been your host, Fred Ogweno. We have been coming to you from Muthu Silver Springs Hotel here in Nairobi. A very nice place you can prepare to come and spend your holiday. If you are outside the country planning to visit Kenya, this should be your hotel. Thank you. Until next time, bye-bye. Thank you.